Mic check, mic check.
Test.
You're good. Let me hear you.
That shit is on point today. Like, Jesus.
See if you're. Yeah, it's good. I like it like that.
Mic check.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
But let's get it set up where you're comfortable. You don't have to lean down and all that.
Yeah. Mic check.
You want it a little higher? Because you'll be leaning down on it and stuff. Whatever makes. Yeah, that's probably good right there.
All right. Everyone's good to go?
I thought that
Yep.
was your leg. My mouth.
Huh?
It's the table.
no,
I thought
yeah,
I
it's
kicked
table.
you there.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, and you're live.
And we are live. You can catch us on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Facebook. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll be right back with you, Howlers. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
This is Ambition of Black Cup.
And today we have a very special guest coming all the way from LA area.
Yes.
LA area. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself to our audience. Tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Candace Thome, and I run an experiential marketing firm called Enlightened Edutainment, and I also founded a nonprofit called Swim Brave Foundation. And they are sister companies set up similar. It's a benefit corp situation where every time the for-profit gets a booking, the nonprofit gets a donation. And so similar to like a Tom's or a Patagonia, that's what we do. But we do it in the world of marketing and entertainment. We like to say edutainment. So
Edutainment. I like that.
yeah.
So how long you been doing that?
10 years now, like
Okay.
officially, like licensed in the business.
Uh-huh.
But I was doing this stuff from a very young age. So my mom kind of put me in events very young, and that's how I got into it.
So how is it with the nonprofit? Like how does that work? Can you explain that a little bit? I know a little bit about nonprofits, but I don't have a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us a little bit how that works. And you said it's like a bathing suit, bikini thing, or
No, Swim Brave it's actually water safety, it's drowning
Okay.
prevention. So
okay.
yeah, Swim Brave Foundation is a 501c3. Nonprofits, you can earn money like a lot of other businesses do, but your money goes to the cause.
okay,
So our cause is water safety, drowning prevention, and we have merfolk mascots that go around and edutain families on water and swim safety. We like to say they're proactive tips that humans can take to join our pod, but really we just want to see families thinking proactively, speaking proactively together about and around the water to prevent drownings, because they are the leading cause of death for kids 1 to 4, and drowning is the second leading cause of accidental death up to 14, only surpassed by car accidents. And so when you think about those numbers, most people aren't even aware.
no, I wasn't aware of that.
And that's most people. When we go out and about to our outreach events, that's what we get. So one, we're not talking about it enough. It's taking so many lives, and it does disproportionately affect Black and brown lives. So in my family particularly, like my brother drowned, we're all mixed, and his name was Brave. And so the way that we spell Swim Brave is Brayv, and that was how my brother spelled his name. And when he died, my grief was reading. I read everything, every obituary, every website statistic. I mean, World Health Organization, CDC, National Drowning Prevention Alliance, anything that was out there. And it shocked me. I had no idea. I grew up here. I had DARE come to my school. I learned what marijuana was by the time I was in second grade. I learned to stop, drop, and roll. And the likelihood of catching on fire versus the likelihood of drowning is drastically different. But we're learning to stop, drop, and roll, but we're not learning to swim. And it just didn't make sense to me. I just got really angry. And when I started to research it more and say, well, this doesn't really make sense, yeah, when you look into it, it does affect Black and brown lives the most. For Indigenous families, they drown at rates 10 times higher than Caucasians. And for Black families, they drown at rates 8 times higher. And like these numbers are drastically different. And so it's a natural process of elimination that they've just ignored over the years. Government doesn't really fund it very well, right? Government doesn't make sure that kids have to have swim lessons before they graduate. They don't have it in any sort of PE.
Yeah, I got friends right now that can't swim.
You know?
But with, you seem very passionate about it, for sure.
Yeah.
But listening to you speak right now, and you speaking how the government does not really care about certain things, I think that's a statistic and a numbers thing. I mean, if the numbers were swayed on the opposite side of the table, then there'd probably be a lot of funding for it. There'd probably be a lot of things for it. But since it's not, since it's towards
100%.
the other side, it's like we can care less. I mean, you know.
Well, and that's it, even when you go back in history and you look at, so one of our first volunteers, her grandfather was the first Black lifeguard in the South. And it wasn't that long ago. And so you're like, okay, well, if that's the first Black lifeguard in America, like, then there haven't been careers in things like aquatics. There haven't been pools that have been open and accessible to certain communities. You really start to connect the dots, and it's a much bigger historical thing.
I mean, you take it back to when some of us were children. I mean, when we were younger, there were some programs, but if you were raised in a hood, a lot of stuff isn't there. After school programs are minimal. It's limited to what's provided.
If the park has a pool.
If it has a pool,
Yeah.
Right.
it's limited. So those resources
Are very
aren't
different.
there for the people. So, I mean, you find ways to have fun. You playing football in the street. You're finding ways. You're playing baseball with a stick and a thing of foil wrapped up. So it's different things that you don't have access to.
Exactly. And swimming really is a life-saving skill first. So as much as we look at it as a recreation thing and you think like, oh, it's this kind of secondary thing, it's a life-saving skill first and foremost. Then it's a sport. It's an Olympic sport. Then it's a fun playtime. So when you think of it in that retrospect, it should be prioritized more. It really should be part of like educational system. It should be kind of done more about it. And we just said, you know what, I did try. And I got told no a lot. I got told that there wasn't proof in the pudding that proactive outreach would actually save lives. And I work in experiential marketing. So I work for Fortune 500 companies. They're out there branding, outreaching all the time. It works. So we just started to do it. We just thought, let's work with our communities. Let's work within our communities. Let's start talking about it. Let's create some proactive action. And let's come together and actually try to strive change and drive change. And so we have different chapters throughout the United States, and we get local volunteers in the area who are passionate and, you know, want to help save lives. We work with a lot of swim organizations. So now we do work with a lot of like Parks and Recs organizations and their swim programs. And we will go do outreach in those communities and let the communities know, like, hey, did you know that this particular city might have free swim lessons or sliding scale lessons? Because a lot of the battle, once people realize the issue of drowning, they're like, well, swim lessons are expensive. So we get asked that a lot. Where would you recommend swim lessons? And so we've had to come up with resources and partnerships and ways to get information out to the community so that we can really drive that change together. So that is our biggest goal in this, is to create more advocates. That's what we say. And have community partnerships where we're looking out for each other and we're changing the narrative of the next generation, and they're looking out for each other, especially around the water. And so, yeah, they make it fun. The mermaids have a pledge. It's a game. They come up and play it. They get a prize from the treasure chest. We actually partner with some really cool entities like Raging Waters in LA. So we get tickets and they donate them, so we're able to give those away at certain events and encourage.
You said you brought us tickets?
I know, it's time. It's perfect timing right now.
Yeah, they're open until September 28th, I think. So we're doing that. So if you guys want, you're more than welcome to come out to an event, bring the family, come take the pledge, and we will hook you guys up for sure.
What's the pledge?
So the pledge it's 5 letters. My brother's name was Brave, Brayv. So we took it, we made an acronym, and those are the proactive steps that humans can take to join our pod. And they're really just simple, easy steps that humans can do to be thinking ahead of time. And so we talk to the kids in a certain fashion with the pledge, and then we talk to the adults in a more realistic, statistical manner. But when we're out at events, you know, we're able to actually get through to parents and to kids. Parents usually appreciate the reminder and just knowledge in general about the stats, whereas the kids are learning from the mermaids to be aware, to be aware of where the lifeguard stations are, to be aware of their surroundings, to be aware of when they're jumping in or each other so that they're not getting hurt. Because if you get hurt, are you having fun? Right? And they're like, when the mermaids ask that, their kids are like, actually, no, you're right. I guess I'm not. And they're really smart. And then they teach them things like rest, because even mermaids have to get, their rest in and get tired. So why wouldn't humans? And again, it goes back to being a sport. We use every muscle when we swim, and we also sweat in the water, which most people didn't know.
Yeah.
And you sweat a lot.
Really?
Yeah, because you don't notice it. And so that's why a lot of us get dehydrated, especially if you're swallowing pool water and things like that. So, yeah, the mermaids will talk about rest, which is letter R, and so on and so forth. And when they come up and play the game, it's plinko, so they get one of the letters within the pledge. So it's not overwhelming. We're planting a seed, but it's funny because the kids will come back and be like, can I play again? They want to get more letters, and the parents will come back and ask whatever they might need to ask about swim safety or whatnot. And I actually founded this company first. This company is why my marketing firm even exists. And my partners and our board are so amazing in helping me run this, but I really was like, I just need donations, like consistently. And it was hard enough to try to get funding. So we do it independently, and that's hard as well. And it takes a village, but we're doing it. It's 10 years deep now.
And you can swim, correct?
Oh, yeah. I'm a really good swimmer.
So
Actually,
did you learn, or you were forced to learn?
I
So were
honestly
you
have
taught?
been swimming as long as I can remember. Like, I didn't take lessons officially. I just remember always being in the water with people and just kind of knew, and I was a fish. Like, I used to just take myself to the bottom, like play tea party. I was doing back dives by the time I was like 5. Like, I loved the water. And my brother that drowned, he's the youngest. There's a really big age gap. So my whole family was a huge fan of the water. And then when that happened, it definitely changed, some of the narrative and things of that nature.
How old was he?
It was right before his 2nd birthday, and it was right before Mother's Day. It was in May, which also just so happens to be National Drowning Prevention Month. And
My son almost drowned twice.
really,
Yeah, it was like crazy.
was it like just a quick
Well,
situation?
we all grew up in the water too. I've been surfing since I was 8, all that stuff. So I mean, he had swimming lessons and all that, but this is right before he had swimming lessons, and he was still fine. But he was actually in the jacuzzi, and he fell in the middle,
right?
and he started drowning, and we were all like, because there was people right there, so we were all kind of like doing our thing, and then my ex, like, she grabbed him out the water. And he was drowning. Like, he was bad though. He was crying and
Right, he
everything.
was scared.
But the thing is though, like, all our heads were turned. Like, we could have literally just kept our heads turned for like another minute and
maybe not noticed.
Yeah.
And everyone has a story like that. Like, even when we go out, a lot of the kids start talking about it. And when they start to converse, you really see them like have empathy and start to be like, oh shit, like
And
this
then,
happens.
Yeah, and then in the ocean, same thing. But like, he was a good swimmer already. But it was just the tide was bad.
Water's powerful.
Yeah, and so the lifeguard had to get him. It was crazy.
Currents and tides, it's a different level, and we aren't taught to respect it because we're not taught the stats like from a young age, and we're not prioritizing swimming in schools and things like that. So we don't have the knowledge that we really need to fully respect the water. But a lot of people have stories like that, and my brother's story was very similar. It was a barbecue, and there were tons of people around, and it was just that time where the food was done. People came in, they left the back door open. I'm sure people thought they were going to go back out, but in the transfer of things, it just, he snuck out. They were all inside. And I mean, when they went through and investigated, which I know is so hard for my family, like, they did everything right in the sense of found him within 2 minutes, performed CPR the whole time, waited, like cleared his airway, just all of these things that in theory, some kids do live. When that happens to them, if you clear their airways, if you find them in time, right? And he just didn't. And it was really hard to accept that, that was something that my family was going to have to live with. And I talked to them about it a couple years after. And I was like, I just have this feeling. I don't know why, because I've never wanted to own a nonprofit. I was like, but I feel like we got to talk about the story. Like, people aren't talking about it enough. And I know it's hard, but if we share our story, maybe other people will share their stories, and maybe we'll really start to take it serious. And so they were super supportive. It's hard for them. They don't go to events and talk about it like I do. Like, they don't talk publicly about it, but they do understand why I do. And I have their blessing. But yeah, we just thought.
Oh, yeah, that has to be hard.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's harder for you too, because you literally created a whole thing around this. So
Yeah.
this is obviously, it's close to your heart.
Yeah,
baby.
it's definitely it's my child for
I
sure.
didn't realize how relatable this topic was as you were talking about your son. I have a little cousin.
Mm-hmm.
He, my cousin had a pool. He made his way to the backyard. There was a gate around it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He got to get up. He had to be about like maybe 4 or 5 years old at the time. Got in the pool. Nobody noticed he was gone. So he was there for a while. He didn't die, but his life has drastically changed. He's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
He can't function on his own.
Mhm.
Everything is just
Damn.
changed.
Yeah.
Everything.
And it happens so quick. I've heard, and this is something too that is also a misconception. Some drownings do happen in the water,
Mhm.
but a lot of drownings actually
the
happen
tub?
during
Oh.
during like non-swim time.
Ah.
So it's like when like they have to come inside to take a nap or you're taking a break and they know they want to go back to the water, to the pool, to the toys.
Without you knowing.
Yeah, my brother, it was
Yeah,
he
I
was
was that
throwing
kid.
rocks in the pool, so he wanted to go back to throw rocks in the water, and they think he tripped over the pool filter and fell in when they did his investigation. But these children are intelligent. Water dances, it's pretty, so they go to the water knowing
They're
that they
fascinated
want to
by
go
the water.
back. And so they're on a mission. So they're quick, they're quiet, they're efficient, and sometimes we're not teaching them, again, the responsibility even of buoyancy because we put people in floaties from a young age. Not that I'm anti or pro floaties, but again, just the responsibility of knowing what it feels like when you go under
Yeah.
and things like that. The kids who do have swim lessons from a young age, it has been proven now that when they go up to water, they're like, they know the responsibility. They don't
Yeah.
want to mess with it. They know what happens if they fall in their clothes. They know how hard it is to flip over on the back, to get to the edge, call for help. So they actually are kind of instilling this responsibility from a young age and then removing the fear so that the kids are prepared rather than scared. But it's just not common. These swim lessons for younger children weren't a thing when we were growing up. You weren't learning to swim when you were 6 months old, at least not commercially, right?
I mean, it makes so much sense though, because I mean, how many kids you hear about drowning or almost drowning, and then you don't hear a lot of kids catching on fire. You know what I mean? Like, and they're teaching that in school.
Mhm.
I know they're probably going to try to say, well, we don't have the funding for the pool and trying to teach them, but I mean, dude, what are they really teaching them anyways? A lot of times in school right now,
important,
it's
right.
very
They
it
give
is.
them what they want them to have. I mean, that's like anything.
Mhm.
Information.
Facts.
They
Yeah.
give us the information they want us to have, not what we need.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always been that way.
Yeah.
So
And so, the swim safety thing, we want to make it fun. We want to make it accessible. So we go all over the place. We go to, some very affluent areas, and then we go to some hoods. And it's very different conversations, right? And it's also really cool to see, like, if we have a lot of diversity in our team. So we might go into a community that's primarily black or brown, and they'll see a black or brown mermaid, and they comment on it. They're like, oh my God, the mermaid's black. Like whispering when she comes in, and they're so stoked because they haven't seen that a lot, or because they just never really thought of it that way commercially. It was like mermaids have red hair, whatever, the big pop culture thing is. And so when you start to see these things, one, they start to think other things are possible. Like, I want to learn to swim. That could be fun. Like, why not pick up a new hobby? And then the other thing is, too, that they're going out and they're making conversations with community members that, again, you're not judging. You just also understand. You have a story you relate to. So you have these personal connections. You care about people. And it just kind of starts to happen where the families start to talk about their situations just like you did today.
Yeah.
And the mermaids are hearing a lot of very, very personal, intimate stories, right? And it happens so frequently. And
have you played the mermaid role?
oh yeah, I helped develop the role.
Stop getting a visual.
We're wholesome. I mean, they're all amazing.
Question.
Yeah.
There's roles in the community,
We
and I just want to
know what you're doing, Marquise.
Oh man, I can't have no fun. I'm drinking my water, man.
It's so funny though on the adult side too, because we have had events where the mermaids are out and about. People will follow us, and then like, just for example, like a single dad one
Like
time I just
Markeith.
happened to know because I saw his Facebook. But he
Could be on
posted the
Ariel.
mermaid. Yeah, and she had like a red wig on. She was, I can't remember. I think it was Linda. Anyways, they're great. They're awesome girls, but some of them are really gorgeous and they're out and about. And the dads are like, you're coming to swim lessons every week. And they're like, and they like have posted about the foundation and like made a point, and people have like joked and laughed about it and started to talk about it even more. And I mean, honestly, I'm here for it. Like, what gets different adults to pay attention to a topic, it is engaging, it is different.
You
it
have
is
like a lineup of
interesting.
dads. Like there's no moms.
And honestly, sometimes the moms are here for it too. I have the moms ask all the time, like, where can I get one of those tops? And sometimes the moms will come up to me and be like, oh, my husband would love that outfit. Like just random comments, but they mean well and they're bonding. You know, they're talking about something.
Yeah, they're bonding.
You know,
she's like, they're bonding. And the
literally
dad's like, yeah, we're
and
bonding,
figuratively,
baby.
all right?
We're bonding.
We're making magic happen. All right, over here, mermaid magic. Okay,
Where the magic happens.
but it is an intergenerational thing. You kind of do have to be prepared to do. And even the kids pop off with, like, we've had little kids come up and see the shells, and the moms have even commented like, "Oh, he's a boob boy." And we're like, what does that mean? Like, and you're
All of a sudden, Marquis the Olympic swimmer.
Hey, I can swim.
lessons every week.
I can swim. I know my way around the water. For sure.
See, that was a little insight right there. I know my way around the water.
And they're just shells, but it's just so funny because the kids just know. They're like, oh, mermaids wear shell bras because that's whatever is in, certain movies or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just funny when we have certain comments from the kids. But they also will ask really outlandish things, like to the mermaids. Like, they're like, what do you eat? Like, do you know SpongeBob? Like, the mermaids have to riff. And then they have to bring it back to swim safety. So they're really good at what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, when people see them in action, especially like certain different agencies and stuff, they're like, oh, wow. Like, okay, this is hard, but they make it fun. It's really cool to watch.
How many mermaids do you have?
They rotate. It's from the beginning, maybe 10 or so every year in different areas. So over the 10 years, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the same people all the time, but actually we have had a few for the whole time. A few of our OGs. Now they're on the board and things like that, but they will step in mermaids still if we really need them to.
How lucrative is this business?
The nonprofit, I mean, honestly, water safety is not lucrative at all unless you're charging for swim lessons, and that's why they're so expensive. So
You get grants and things like that, though, or?
not really. We're pretty independent. Most nonprofits don't get grants before year six.
Oh, okay.
You're more likely to fail before that, and so people don't really want to invest in you. So we got some small ones like 1K, 2.5K, 5K, but you're really not getting big ones until you've lasted over 6 years in that world. So we went the private route. We, went to personal businesses, family, friends, communities, and we take from people who can give, and we give to people who need it. And it's kind of just a balance, right? But the point's not necessarily for anyone to make money. The point is just to build it to grow where it can sustain communities at large and that they can be self-sufficient and safer. So I never set it up with a profit model. Now that we've been in business 10 years, there are other things that are aligning within our partnerships that will turn into additional profit models. And it's so great. And I'm sure that people who maybe weren't in it for the passion probably would have seen those opportunities sooner than me, for sure. But I'm in it specifically to save lives. Like, even if I saved one life in the beginning was just my thing. And now it's kind of grown where I'm like, but you have these opportunities to really make more money and contribute bigger and do it bigger. And so
well, the
now
more
it's
money
better
you get, the
balanced.
bigger that you can get this
More
out
impact,
too.
yeah.
But that's always best though. I think when a business starts because of the passion for it,
Yeah, I think
and
it
they
was
build
needed.
a whole thing around it.
Your culture,
Then like when the money comes, it's like it's better because you already like you have a passion for it, and you built like this crazy model that works. And most people are doing it for the money. It's just better when you do it for passion.
Yeah,
The money will
I
come
agree.
after that. You
I
know?
agree. I do. It's something that it makes it worthwhile too, because you're going to hit low points. Even if you're good at business, even if you love what you do, even if you're great at what you do, like you're going to hit low points. So you have to have that passion to motivate you. There were times where especially before year 6, where, I was told this wouldn't work or woody woo, whatever, And I don't know how it's not like this is something where I went to college and was like, this is my 10-year plan. This was kind of just given to me and was like, here's your mission. I've tried to abandon it. I'm not allowed,
Do
So
you feel like it was God speaking to you and
100%.
telling you?
100%. I've had no desire ever before my brother died to own a nonprofit. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have like volunteered or done good in my community, but I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. I've always been very sure about that, and this completely derailed it. Like it just, not in a bad way. It just changed me, like
So
to my core.
How much of your time does this take up?
So much. I don't pay myself. I do donate and volunteer as well because you can't really build culture and build the right people if you're doing it wrong. So if I don't want to pay people, then I can't, I have to volunteer. And in the world of entertainment, a lot of these like pro mermaids want to get paid. And don't get me wrong.
Wait,
not
there's
s-
pro mermaids?
It's a thing. It's like a multi-million-dollar industry now. When we first started 10 years ago, it wasn't, but it's grown.
So this is beyond you.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Even
At this point, we're
Are there male
mermaiding
mermaids?
safety. There's mermen. There's
Jacob.
costumes. There's
That's all
diving.
you.
Let's go.
It's on this guy.
We could actually take you guys to Catalina. We could go diving, and we could make this a thing for sure. For
Sounds
sure.
like it's a large market for the mermaids.
It is. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's not what I expected, but it works for us, right?
Yeah.
Which is how we have other opportunities now to get more donations. Because it is an industry now and people are paying to get certified. So a lot of our mermaids, if you're in the water at any given point in time, whether it be for a photo shoot, even like we do in-water gigs for the for-profit, and we use a lot of the volunteers for that. Anyone who's in water has to be PADI certified, and they go through pretty rigorous training to get the certifications.
What's PADI certified?
Yeah.
PADI is a dive organization.
Oh,
It's like a certifier, an organizer, and they have standards for scuba diving, free diving. Mermaiding is categorized under free diving because you do it without a scuba tank, so no oxygen. And like for our certifications, you get certified to dive up to 30 to 60 feet in a monofin. You're trained to do this. It's taught like with breath hold techniques, breathing techniques, equalization techniques so that your eardrums don't explode underwater. And they can use it for like performing in aquariums or tanks. They can use it for different eco-conservation purposes, photo shoots. They can use this to teach just the classes in general to other people. And people will go and get certified as mermaids. And like a really good place to do that in Southern California is in Catalina because the water is like beautiful, crystal clear. They have a dive park out there. And so we have partners out there and we go out and we will certify people. And the ones that are really good at it and passionate about it, they grow into performers with us. And we have mermaids at Raging Waters and we have at all these different fun places. And they get to swim in the lazy river and go perform around.
Hey, I think Marquis wants to be a
He's
a
really
merman,
considering
I'm
it.
take his job up. Good to see you.
Because I already know my way around the water, so you know.
That's not how I said it, man. That was not my tone.
He said, "I know my way around the water." That's how he said it.
We're not doing this today.
we love a king merman. We love a king merman. We're here for it.
A king
We're here
merman.
for it.
Man, there we go.
He loves that. Look
There
at
we
it.
go.
But tell us about your marketing then. So you're a marketing company. So you started that after, and
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
I needed something to sustain the foundation, and I was already doing experiential marketing, which is a facet of like events. So if a company does a sponsorship or a festival, a trade show, maybe you see people sampling products in stores or street teams out and about, passing things out. Anything like that is what we do. And so I was already doing it for companies as a consultant independently. I was starting to get more bookings than I could fulfill myself. And I talked to some family about what I wanted to do. I actually talked to a cousin about it, and she was like, "That's a great idea. Like, you should do it." And she was like, "I'll help you," because I was like, I can't do both. This is too much. It takes at least 30 hours of my time, even in the slow season for the nonprofit, and I volunteer that. So that's like my late nights, early mornings, like when I'm on the toilet type stuff, because that's when I have time. And then I work full time as well.
That's what I was. The next question. Okay.
And she was like, "Okay, I'll help you. Like, I got you." And I started it, and I pitched some people I knew that were good at what they did within the marketing realm, people that I had worked with in the past. I used to work in Vegas in some of the larger clubs, and
As a mermaid. just
yeah, of course. No, actually, I worked in the marketing department, and our opening event, I pitched mermaids in the pool, and it got picked up, and it's always been around and like part of my life. Actually, looking back now, it does not surprise me at all. But I just never planned on having the nonprofit, you know. But it makes sense the more I look back at history. Yeah.
So you work on top of that, on top of both of these things?
No. The two companies are
Okay,
my
so
full-time
that's it.
gigs.
So
Yeah.
you're.
Enlightened is like what pays me, and then Swim Brave is like my passion.
For the people.
And how long have you had Enlightened for?
About 8 years. Started
8.
it a couple years into Swim Brave. Yeah.
Okay, and you said you got street teams. You have. So how many people do you have working for you on that one?
We're all over the place. This week we're doing Houston and Dallas. We were in Chicago last week, New York the week before that, Miami. Sometimes we're doing multiple states in the same day. I'm not sure anymore. I know that I have a great team of account managers, and there's about 5 of us. My partners are amazing. There's 3 of us. And then talent, maybe like 300 to 500,
Wow.
maybe.
So with
That's
that,
booming then.
can you help us
It's definitely
understand what
busy.
experiential marketing is?
Yes.
Exactly.
So it's taking your marketing, your branding,
Hmm.
putting it into a plan that now creates an experience. How can people taste, touch, feel whatever you might want to portray as a brand? If it's not food, they might not care about taste, right? If it's headphones, they might care about the sound, right? Your sound aspect. So what are you going to do to enhance the sound, enhance the feeling, whatever it might be? So some of our brands, for example, we do, I'm trying to think of one that would be relevant right now. So Pride just happened, right? It was June, Pride just happened, and there were a bunch of Pride festivals. A lot of the sponsors for Pride were like, how can we make it meaningful? How can we make it impactful? And being enlightened edutainment, we thought it's really great to add cause to community, because that's what I do with Swim Brave. So that also is a staple at the for-profit. And so we do sexual health, sexual wellness, and we help staff these promotional campaigns for very large sponsors for Pride, and it gives people access to free test sites, free test kits mailed to them. We have street teams out there just promoting, get tested, care about yourself, care about your loved ones, take care of your bodies, live comfortably and live carefree by taking care of yourself. And it's all complimentary. They pay for the test sites to be free. They'll mail people test kits for free, things like that. Sometimes they're even connected with organizations that will provide medication for free for people who do get AIDS or HIV and things of that nature. And so that is something that, even though people don't necessarily think that, Pride has like a cause behind it, they do. I mean, it's huge. It's more than a movement. You know what I mean? It's a whole community. And we really wanted to give back in a fashion that's not superficial, not a rainbow. So we thought, sexual health and wellness. And it works really well. It's appreciated. It's valued. We started it, I don't know, 4 years ago now. And
So
it's
did
still a
they
thing. We're still
contact you and
staffing.
they hired you for that?
So we work with their marketing firm and team.
Because I mean that's big. That would be a huge account, right?
Yeah, and basically we had worked with them before on other accounts, and we have a really good reputation for enlightened edutainment. We make personal connections. We have educated people on our team. So when you think like street teams or samplers, a lot of time people are thinking like people who just stand around in stores are not engaging. Our people are super engaging. They're super passionate. They're really educated. So the clients that in particular that we were dealing with, they had an issue where they weren't able to fulfill certain clients. They weren't able to keep them happy with these particular roles of like brand ambassadors and outreach. And so they knew that we had a great team, and they were like, listen, can we use you and try this out? And just through one great client and that one great experience, it led to another.
Word of mouth.
And another and another. And yeah, I think the first thing was like, it was a cannabis client that we had in common. And with plant medicine, we had people who were educated in plant medicine who were still professional, showed up on time, did their job. A lot of events and festivals out in the IE are looking for people who can do that within the cannabis space. And as it grows and becomes legal in more places, we were, one of the only few people who had a lot of connections in that field. And so it led from there. From there, it became a medical device. And the medical device was super innovative. I'm talking one of the coolest wheelchair walkers I have ever seen for people who have mobility issues. It was very cool. And then it led to another one. And then it led to the biopharmaceutical company. And then it led to the Pride. So, yeah, it just is word of mouth. I think when you have those kinds of cool relationships.
Let's do this then. How would you do something like this? Howls over Baaz, the podcast. What would you do for something like that?
For an outreach?
Yeah. I would know. I mean, I understand marketing and all that stuff, and to a sense, but you guys are on a whole different level.
So I will say I'll do a tidbit, but I don't do free consulting.
Yeah, that's cool. I understand.
But I would probably take the things that you do here, and I would show the world you have a good natural personality. And I think radio street teams sometimes can be really played out, but there are things that cycle, repeat, and do really well doing that. And 90s street team vibe is definitely coming back. But also, so you could play on that. But also there is a realism in being able to do things on the go and being able to do things in front of people and really wow people and show people what you're made of. I think it's hard to do that when you're always in a studio. We actually do a lot of studio production for brand commercial work, for example. And during COVID and stuff, that's really all we could do. It was so hard to get word of mouth. It was, because you're in a studio all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm at events, it's a no-brainer. I know every single event I do, I'm going to get at least 2 new clients. I know, though, at least, you know, the word of mouth is there. I have a lot of people that will approach or talk to me about it, but I know for sure, even if the cool, you know, something cool that maybe approached me and I got excited about, maybe they don't follow through. I know for sure there's going to be at least other opportunities, and I can't be mad about that. So, for me at least, I thrive in person, and I feel like you probably would too in certain environments. So I feel like, yeah, certain street team stuff, getting out and about, and then bringing those people like to studio, I think that could be a really cool aspect.
That's kind of what we're doing a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
So yeah. So
Marketing is a very broad industry.
Oh my gosh.
And I know it's challenging, it's cutthroat at times,
Mm-hmm.
but what led you to know that this was for you, and how do you fight through the everyday challenges?
So I actually worked at marketing firms before mine.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I work at just complete marketing firms, I also worked in marketing departments. And when I worked in, like, let's say, for example, the marketing departments for the nightclubs in Vegas, you have all your different subsets, right? You've got PR, you've got digital marketing, you've got social media, you've got your operations marketing people who are kind of like the liaison between what actually happens at the club and what happens before. Then you have like your management, your directors, your press, like dealing with all the billboards and things like that. And so as I was having to work, I came in as a marketing assistant, and I always knew what marketing was going to be my thing. When I went into college, I just was like, yeah, marketing. I always knew that. But working in actual firms and working in actual departments and seeing the different subsets, I knew that events was my thing. And it's not for everybody. Not everyone can keep their energy up for a whole weekend or a whole week
especially
convention.
this day and age, like people just can't talk to people.
It's a lot. And I was really trained from a young age. Remember, I told you I started when I was young. I got really comfortable being uncomfortable from a young age. I think I was like 3.5, 4. And Power Rangers, they had a new movie at the time. They were doing a launch for something, and I got booked for that. And then the next thing I knew, I was doing Star Wars, like Revenge of the Sith.
What the heck?
Just all sorts of stuff. I mean, they used to mail us. This is how it worked back in the day. They would mail you cassette tapes with like your training kit. And you would have to watch the marketing department on a tape, on a VHS, explain to you how everything at the event is going to be done, what products are going to be there. Let's say like maybe they partnered with Walmart and they were going to have a bunch of toys and Nabisco snacks. Like you would have to learn about all the partnerships through a VHS. It's so easy now. We can email people, we can do Zoom trainings, we can send decks, but back then it was all premeditated on VHSs, and that's how we were trained. So I got really comfortable in an era where it was hard too.
Yeah.
And then I grew from there. And so I knew once I saw the marketing aspect, I was like, oh, well, I can take this past experience, and I see that they do events and they do sponsorships, and those nightclubs sponsor huge festivals now and just huge golf events and tournaments and all kinds of stuff. And I just really started to dive into it. So,
well, I mean, it's because the thing is too, not everybody can do marketing. Like you said, when they go to events, like people just can't mingle, network, talk. Like they get all uncomfortable. I kind of enjoy being uncomfortable. I like that.
or they tap out soon. Like maybe they could do it for a couple
Quickly,
hours.
yeah.
You know, like people will be like, oh, I'm going to bring my staff. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm still going to staff brand ambassadors. I'm like, oh, no, my team can do it. And the first year they try that, and they're like, okay, I understand.
Because people want overnight success.
And your staff is great, don't get me wrong, but they're not trained for events and that kind of energy and keeping it up for the whole day. So they tap out at lunchtime. You still got the whole convention day left or the whole festival left. You need people who are professionally in this for the long haul at certain events. And same thing with like data. Marketing is also data collection. What better place to get information from your customers than at events? So we have data collectors out there. We gather, information and primary research for these companies so that they can drive their marketing plans and really know what needs to be done and listen to the people rather than trying to tell people what they want. Because that's one thing I really am big on in business is we've got to stop telling people that was an old.
That was
business
old school,
model.
yeah.
You really got to listen.
You gotta listen because you're there to serve in reality. So yeah, I've been hearing that a lot lately. From podcasts to everything.
You
know.
can't deny it anymore because it's in
Yeah.
the research. Like it's
Yeah.
in the numbers. You see that when you listen to them and you implement changes, it drives sales. It drives returns. And that's in marketing things with sales. The best way is word of mouth, referral free. You don't got to pay for an ad. You don't have to bug anybody. They've already trust you. They're coming back. That's gold, right? So if you're not listening and you can't do that and they try you once and they decide to leave, you might never get that, demographic back, and that could be the death of you. So, yeah.
So what's some of the hurdles you faced throughout this journey? Some of the biggest hurdles, challenges.
Hurdles. sometimes people, especially in like leadership roles, I think you go into things thinking it's going to be the same way forever and the same people forever. And I've just learned over the last decade that it's okay if every few years certain people have to change. There are key people who will stick around, but I'm so loyal that I just assumed that 10 people I started with would be the 10 people who are by my side now. And a lot of people didn't see the vision. A lot of people didn't want to put in the work. You know, a lot of people didn't want to sacrifice, which is entrepreneurship at its core. You can't say you want to be an owner or a founder and not sacrifice to some extent. So
That's true.
Things like that. And that was hard for me to accept because clearly I'm committed, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I have had some people stick through, again, just not everybody. But then through that, I'm like, oh, wow, like we've been together 10 years. Like one of my partners has been with me the whole time, you know? And yeah, she's the only person that's really been with me the whole time. But we've had other key people come in and really stick around, such as account managers. We've had really great talent, you know, just when you get creative people together and the vibe is there.
Yeah.
Everyone, anytime I contact people for events, like people get excited. They're like, oh, this is going to be a good one, you know, because it's just fun to bring brilliant minds together and like watch them do their thing and then see it come to life. So I like taking that aspect of, I have a degree in dance as well as a degree in business. So I like the entertainment, which is why edutainment, because it's marketing, it's numbers, it's data. But we add the entertainment aspect to everything that we do. It's got to be interesting. So that's how I keep it fun. You know, that's how I get to still enjoy some of my passions like dance. And
What kind of dancing?
when you get a degree, you got to do everything. So you take training in tap, jazz, ballet, modern.
Okay.
And I honestly loved like jazz and modern and ballet more than I thought I would. But my passions are like heels, hip hop. I love bass. So yeah, I like slow, slinky, you know, stretchy movements.
How long did you actually dance?
My whole life. I started when I was in classes, probably like 3. I was doing comp teams when I was younger, like the little ESPN and cheer and the whole Bring It On kind of bit. Then I went to college, got my degree in dance, and that's really when I started to take it serious because I was doing the events. I want to say it was one of the Star Wars events where I first got asked to do character work, and I was like, wait. It opened up a whole nother world of like entertainment, and I started to go do extra work in movies, and then started to get modeling gigs, and started to get speaking roles, and started to get dance gigs, and then I started to do tours and go perform at hotels like Hard Rock and things like that. And I think for the age that I was and the energy that I had and the patience that I had, it was a great experience at the time, and it led to a lot of connections and build a lot of relationships that I still use to this day. I still use a lot of my, production people and crew people and a lot of the performers and now choreographers, some of my like favorite dancers and favorite people that I loved performing with now I have doing fun things for brands, and it's cool.
Who's your favorite dancer?
Oh, like people that I grew up with. So I have one of my favorite dancers. Her name is Nishay. Trying to think of Instagram handles right now, and I'm horrible at that. But I remember when we were younger, we were trying out for, I don't know if you guys know the Aces in Vegas. It's like a WNBA team. But when they first got brought to Vegas, so this shows my age, they had a dance team. And so we were captain, co-captain. And I remember like watching her audition and just being like, and to this day, like any music video she does, any team she does, she's on like Twerk Team USA, like just every time I watch her, I'm
They
just
have a twerk team USA.
yeah, things like that. But yeah, I always watch her and I'm in awe. And so she's one of my favorites. But I have a ton, and But yeah, I think everyone knows in my circle she's one of my best friends and favorite performers. So I can at least say that and not be biased. But I gotta stop it there.
Best friend, it's kind of biased. I'm just saying. But she has to be dope, though.
No, everyone loves her. She's a great energy, too. She's like a professional bodybuilder and stuff, too. So just the things she can do with her body defy gravity. So people, they love her. They're like, what? So, yeah, we have fun with it. But we bring it all together. We make it work. I think a lot of people are multifaceted, especially in the LA, SoCal area. Sometimes you got to take all your passions and all your skills and figure out how you can make it work.
For real. Like, you can make money on that shit. Like, why are you gonna just do something that you have to do every day and you hate it for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
When you can just make your passion and make it money.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, it's really. I mean, it is hard, but it's not that hard. Like it's harder for me to go to the same job every single day, put the same hours in, like for the
I'm
rest
the
of my
same way.
life. Like, nah, I ain't doing that.
And some people need that structure, and we need all kinds of people. Like, I fully get that. But if I remember actually in college, one of my last jobs, it was like that every day. And the last 6 months at the job, I cried on my way to work for no reason, just because I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And I just realized, I was like, this is not what my soul is meant for.
I know. I remember working at this one place, and I was just like depressed every time I walked in there. I was like, dude, I'm not doing this. I gotta get my
The
stuff.
place that had the pole.
I was like, man, I can't be doing this no more. So I mean, I get that. I feel like that's an entrepreneurship mind, though.
It is.
You're just like, I can't do this, man. Like, I'm not meant for this. I was making really good money. It was a really good job.
Right, and with great opportunities,
Yeah.
great
Right.
benefits,
And
great
I
vacation.
still
and,
hated
yeah.
it. I
That
felt
was-
so depressed.
That was
going
me
over
at the
there.
casino. My last job at the casino, I was a manager and, lead supervisor, whatever you want to call it. And I was going to work and I sit in the parking lot for like 15, 20 minutes. I just sit there like, I don't wanna go in
Hyping
here.
yourself up to even get out
Yeah.
of the car.
Anxiety, everything. I'm like, I don't want to go in here. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no.
ain't been back to the regular 9 to 5 since.
I feel like an entrepreneur, like, they're not meant for that. And so they know they got to make something out of what they do.
Yeah, and I get it's not for everyone, because some people hear my lifestyle and they're like, why? Like, you're always on the road, you're always on the go. I like traveling. I make
Yeah.
the most of it, you
with,
know?
With that, what's something that most people misunderstand about the work you do?
That it's just fun.
Hmm.
Because it is, right? You see the final product, you have no idea how many times things go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, on a regular basis. If it's not weather, it's logistics. If it's not logistics, it's something within that current state, political environment, current situation, roadway builds, construction. There's always something. Like, the list goes on and on. So it's different every day, which keeps it interesting. And I have a lot of experience where when things repeat, I'm like, you know what? We've had this problem before. Go reset this router, see if, because like if you're in a festival, if you're in the middle of nowhere, sometimes you gotta wing it. You know,
Yeah.
like you gotta make things happen. And so you do get good at that. But I think that is a really big misconception, is people are just like, oh, it's so fun, so it must not be hard. It must be easy. And I think a lot of people try to get in. Like, you see how many people try to produce events these days?
A lot.
Market events, and no one's
Well,
there.
a lot of marketing people are so full of shit. Like when hearing you talk, I'm like, she knows what she's talking about. Because a lot of the time they're gonna just tell you stuff that everybody else says. You're like, dude, I already know that shit. Like when you own a business, you kind of know how to market because you have no choice. Yeah.
I disagree partially.
On what part?
What you have to know how to market, because
because
I run multiple businesses and I'm not the best at marketing. I just understand some of the people, but there's more dynamics to the marketing aspect. I do events. I own a barbershop, and then I run a visual company. So
you got them stuttering.
so I do these things, but the marketing aspect, sometimes I lose myself in actually trying to figure out how to market everything to the right individuals all the time.
Yes, it's a whole separate department.
Yeah.
It's a different part of the brain too.
Yep.
So it's not meant for everybody. But you do kind of have to know, because
But you
that is
kind of know.
events, and
You
that
kind of
is
know, bro.
No, I do know
doing the
some,
shows,
but
right? But yeah,
what
to a
you're
vast
doing,
degree.
it's a different
Yeah,
level
yeah, she's
of what it is.
But she's doing it for real too. There's a lot of people that I talk to. They're just so full of crap. Like, they'll tell you, they own a marketing company, and they'll tell me basically, like, honestly, nothing. Like, I feel like a lot of people just don't even know what to say.
It's kind of a battle we actually deal with being a firm. Because
And that's what I was gonna say. You have to deal with that.
Oh yeah, constantly when people are like, "You want a retainer?" Like, I'd use this last firm, and they totally da 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 da, and we always hear that. So
go
we
back to
will
them.
do like a one-off where we'll do it without a retainer, let you work with us once, see how we go and do things. But after that, we're gonna need some sort of commitment,
Yeah.
because people just want to call you all the time. They want you at their beck and call. Well, we have to have something to pull from. And also, a lot of these things that people do sometimes, as much as I love to plan in advance, a lot of events and sponsorship opportunities pop up last minute. And it's something where you've just got to be ready, So there's that aspect too, where we are dealing with I have shown up, for example, I've been sent on set for like major artist music videos for brand placements, and I have shown up, and the contract was wrong, the treatment was changed, schedule was changed completely. I mean, I had to sit down and I had to renegotiate a contract, do pre-production planning of what, now that we have a new contract, what goes into what we're actually going to do on set with that, and then within the product placement. Then you've got to stay for the shoot, make sure it gets done, and you're now doing the job of like 3 or 4 people. and then the people will, the job will get done. It'll be done great, and then they don't want to pay you for a month
Yeah.
or something like that.
That's why we don't. I mean, we deal with a lot of artists in here, and yeah, we see stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, I just don't play.
Artists is different.
I think
Artists
that's
is
where
different.
things differ too, because there's marketing and then there's marketing with structure and discipline. Because you can easily market something all day long, but in how you're laying it out, there's a lot of structure and discipline involved in everything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I have a method.
Yeah, you have a
know?
method. That's
Yeah.
a strong method.
And I think that's one of the harder things that I have used to really endure a lot more is the doubt of it. People really, because you do.
I doubt marketers. I literally.
Yeah.
You're the only person I've ever talked to for marketing, and I'm not even joking at all. That I would be like, all right, cool. She knows what she's doing. Because I talk to so many people, I'm like, dude, I would never work with them.
That's
It
sucks to hear too, but it does make sense because I get so much pushback.
But then you're dealing with big people too. You're dealing with big accounts.
But this is why I don't go after them anymore. This is why I do the referral and the word of mouth, and when people see me in action, because I don't have to fight that anymore.
Mhm.
In the beginning, it was a lot more of these conversations.
Yeah.
I haven't had that in the last handful of years because I'll focus on people who have seen us in action, or their other company that they work with has used us, whatever it might be. And so that does start to kind of help that bridge. But then, when you go back into a pitch mode or meeting someone new or a networking event and you start to hear it again, I forget how many
it's so bad.
Yeah.
Like all these people all over social media, like marketing firm, and they don't do nothing for you.
And I get it too, because we're not everything, right? So we have had to partner and work with even a lot of the firms that I used to work at. I'll be like, hey, will you help us with our website or digital marketing or whatever? Because again, we don't do everything, right? And even sometimes I get frustrated, and I have experience in it, so I'm like, don't.
That's
blame
any
me,
business.
right?
You got to outsource. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
And once you find people who you work well with, you really got to keep them close because there are people who are going to test you, and who are going to try to overcharge you for a website or underproduce in a contract. Like, no, the scope of work says this.
Yeah.
This is what I expect. But people forget that there might be people who will hold them accountable or whatever. But I also hold myself accountable in work, so I think that's why. So maybe you're probably one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm big on accountability.
Yeah, big time. And a lot of people just don't come through. I don't have time to especially when you're in a business, you don't have time to hear a bunch of BS and then they tell you something and you're like, okay, this sounds cool, let's test it out. And then they don't come through on what they say.
Why
right
do so
away
many people
too.
pitch things and not follow through on them? I didn't even ask
And it's
you.
almost
to do
immediate.
this.
Yeah.
Because it sounds good to them.
And it's almost immediate. They show immediately that they are full of crap too.
Which, in a sense, is like protection. You're like, hey, at least I know now.
Yeah.
But even the month or two you might have invested into like getting the ball rolling. Sometimes, which is also for a client perspective of this is why I require a retainer. Because a lot of clients will get this grandiose idea and then, we're going to do this at events, we're going to do this. And then the month before, like, actually, we mismanaged the budget. We're not going to do anything. And when you hold people accountable to a retainer, they don't get to do that.
Yeah.
They have to manage their budget correctly. They have to think ahead. And in the long run, I get thanked for it because they know they would have spent it on something that was not as important or whatever. There's always going to be a bill that pops up in business, right?
Yeah.
But if you really want to scale, if you really want to get feedback or whatever it is that their goal is within doing a certain sponsorship or a certain outreach, the outcome isn't going to happen right away. You've got to see it through. And then even after the event, again, we go over the data, we implement it, we change things, and then we do it again. So the way that it needs to be done, it's not short term. And I don't know why everyone seems to think that you can change your marketing plan like every 6 months or so. That's like fashion. Fashion comes in seasons. Most plans, business or marketing, take at least 3 to 6 months to implement and get a momentum going. And that momentum is truly what builds the residual, what builds the habit, right? And so you've got to keep going at it. You don't have to do it exactly the same every time, right? Pivoting is perfect. But I think the amount of time, people think that marketing is like this side thing, and marketing and operations move together the entire time. And just because you think marketing can stop, it can't. And people never would say that about operations. You can't just stop operating the business. It wouldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like common sense, but it is the same with marketing. It has to go hand in
No,
hand.
you're spot on.
So,
Spot on.
that's my other challenge is sometimes people will give up a little soon, but I've seen a lot of startups fail.
Yeah.
I've seen some, I have really great big clients. My favorites are the startups that I've helped build, the ones that have like seen success and sold, and now they're in Walmarts and, and stuff like that, because it sucks when you have clients and they fail, but some of them, you see it coming.
Do you think it's because a lot of them want overnight success? They want microwave success?
That's most. Yeah.
Probably. I think I don't know if they think it's that way, but I don't think people understand the
How long it
commitment.
takes.
The commitment to something. You know, it's literally like raising a kid. Even I look back at when I started my companies and I'm like, ooh, like at the social media or the pictures or whatever, we've evolved so much since then.
Yeah.
But if I had waited, you know, like to be perfect forever and I had
You never start.
right. So I think that people are like, wait, and then they want to be perfect, and then if it's not perfect, they give up. And it's just a rotation of pivots, as is life, right?
Or you would even know like how long it takes and how much money it takes, you would never start either. So it's like, hey, like you gotta just go. You gotta just go for it. Because if you really looked and like, if I would have told myself, if I could have like went back in time and said this is what it's gonna take, I'd have been like, hell no, I ain't doing none of that shit.
Right?
I'd be like, no, you know what I mean. But once you're deep in, you're like, hey, there's no turning back now.
Right, you're committed.
Like I'm here, I'm doing it. Like it's, I can see the finish line. Like I'm just gonna keep going. And there's always gonna be a new finish line.
Yeah.
There's never going to be the same one. Like you hit, I mean, might hit it in a few years, and then you got another few years to hit another one, and it might change all the time. That's just business.
Yeah, and it should be if you're an entrepreneur, because growth is the only thing that keeps you relevant. You don't necessarily have to change, but you do have to grow. You know, so that's why companies rebrand or whatever to stay relevant.
And even like technology changes, everything changes. At the end of the day, like
How
things,
you market.
AI, things are changing so quick. You do got to change because if you don't, then you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
Like how are you not using AI now? You got no choice.
Do you use AI?
Yeah. I use it a lot.
I use it all day, every day. Like, you just cannot go away from it.
I have my limitations with it, but for certain things, pitches and just, basic stuff. But yeah, like sometimes I have friends who are like, oh, I use it for therapy. And while in theory, I think it's a great idea, I'm like, no, I don't trust these machines. I have a therapist. I'll keep it there.
well, if you gotta like you have all these questions and you're used to having like a mentor or something and you don't have that, you can just literally write it in ChatGPT and they'll come up with all kinds of solutions to that same problem, and boom, then you just can get that handled. I do it all the time. It cuts my workload like literally more than in half.
Yeah, for pitches and drafts and things like that, and especially like long writing. I used to have tools on my phone where I could talk things out, and they ended up removing them from my phone. And so like when things like ChatGPT and whatnot popped up, and the fact that I can speak it into existence again, I talk fast, and I cannot ever type as fast as I talk. I'm just not a typer. So for me, it does make me more efficient with speed too.
Yeah.
Because
and that's a lot though. Like getting stuff done in like that amount of time. I remember when I first started doing it, I was like, whoa, I don't even know what to do now. Like I finished everything. Like what the heck? It's morning still. Like what do I do now? I finished all my stuff. Usually it took me forever, like all day to get all that stuff done.
Or
so
like
now I was able to
pitch
do,
decks, and you would just dread it. And I'm like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
I do get that. Yeah, especially when it's like a competitive pitch, when they're the companies that are like, oh, I want a 28-page, I'm like, oh, Jesus. So you
like,
can't.
all right, chat.
Yeah.
Let's get to work.
Like I feel like I'm in college again. Like, what do you mean 28-page proposal? Who's gonna read that?
I know they're not.
But a lot of old school organizations are like that.
Old
so,
school.
Yeah.
For sure. You need a mission statement, and that's all you really need. The mission. The vision's even too long. You know. It's like just give them the mission statement. Because nobody wants to read all that.
I'm like, who is gonna digest this?
No.
But yeah, sometimes we get ridiculous requirements for bids, and we're like, all right.
They're old school for sure, huh?
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
Swim Brave is always probably going to be the focus, so growth there for sure. We are big in California, and we have chapters in Nevada, so like in Vegas, and Atlanta. We have Illinois, Florida, New York. But I would love to have a chapter at least in like every major city, like at least one major city in each state. So like long term, I'm going to try to do that.
That's your goal.
Yeah, and do some fun stuff along the way. Dives, mermaid dives. I'm PADI certified mermaid instructor.
Relax.
Go do all the in-water fun stuff and make connections and have fun. But yeah, that's that. And everything else, I am not sure. I stopped having like set plans.
Yeah, you don't have set plans
I've
right now.
learned too much now.
Because you're like, that's just going to derail like crazy somewhere, huh? So you're like, oh, this is where I'm going. Then boom.
Every time.
You have a whole nother plan after that.
So it usually is great. It usually works out, if not better.
Yeah. That's usually the case.
Why do I even? Why? So yeah, I've accepted that. I'm really good with going with the flow now.
It's just bullet points to where you want to go, and then something else happens.
So yeah, I know that I love what I do. I would love to keep growing both of my companies and ultimately be able to just travel and kind of retire and let them run themselves.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the best goal ever.
That is an amazing goal.
So, we'll see. I don't put a timeline on things, but yeah.
That's
the
cool.
plan.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Is there any last words you want to tell the audience?
No, I appreciate you guys having me. I appreciate your time and letting me talk about the foundation, and hopefully people learned a thing or two. And yeah, if anyone needs help with experiential marketing,
How do
where
they
to find
find you?
me.
How do they find you?
So you guys are welcome to, I would say probably the easiest thing, look us up on Instagram. Check out the Instagram. It's Enlightened Edutainment, one word. And if the photos are your vibe, then go ahead and shoot us a DM, give us a follow, and we'll make sure that we'll get back to you for sure.
Hey, that's a real entrepreneur thing to say, though, because like when you're actually doing well, you're not like trying to push anybody towards you.
There's no
It's
point.
just, hey, if you like it, it's the vibe. She said, if it's the vibe, then shoot us a message. If not, then you keep moving.
I'm all about alignment these days. We
Yeah.
only have time for alignment.
For
so
real, really.
That's all it's about.
We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Our slogan is shed the sheep. So if we on 3, we look at the camera and just say shed the sheep. 1, 2, 3. Shed the sheep. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
This is Ambition of Black Cup.
And I'm Candace Thome. Have a good day, everyone.
We appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we are out. Peace.